Hello everybody, I'm your Baking Queen and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a flourless chocolate cake, only using 3 simple ingredients. So what you're going to need to get started is 8 full eggs. You're going to need to get you a pound of an semi-sweet chocolate. You can use morsels or you can use a bar. Either way, they're going to need to be chopped up for melting, and you'll see more of that a little later on. You're going to need 1 cup of an unsalted butter. So if you're using sticks, it's 2 sticks worth of butter. So make sure you have your full cup regardless. So now that we have all of our ingredients, let's get started. All right, everybody, so we're going to start with all 8 of our eggs in a stand mixer. I do suggest you use a stand mixer for this because you're going to want to whip these eggs up till they're about double in volume. So a stand mixer is going to help you achieve that without having to stand over and whip your eggs with a hand mixer or even by hand itself. So you put all your eggs into your stand mixer, which I have it here. Let's go ahead and get this going. Now you're going to let this whip for about 5 minutes is usually the time it takes for the eggs to whip up and get nice and fluffy, which is what you want. So we're going to let this whip and we'll come back in just a minute and I'll show you what they look like. Alright, as you can see, we have let this beat for about 5 minutes. It's roughly double in size. I'm probably going to let it go a little bit longer. As you can see, it's nice and it's frothy and it's looking really, really good. So yeah, so you want to whip your eggs up so you get this nice frothy look to them. So that looks pretty good to me. So now we need to melt our chocolate and our butter. All right, everybody, so we took our 1 pound of the semi-sweet chocolate. I took the bar and I broke it up, and then I put the morsels in there as well. And then I took the 1 cup of butter and put it into a microwave safe container that I have, this wonderful little bowl, because we're going to melt this down using the microwave. You can use a double boiler if you have a double boiler. You can do a makeshift double boiler if you want on the stove. This is the quickest and kind of easiest way to do this, so it also saves you a lot of time. So you're going to want to melt this in about 30-second intervals so that you don't burn your chocolate. That way you can keep melting it and stirring it until you get a nice melted consistency. So let's go ahead and start that now. Okay, so this is the first 30 seconds, and as you can see, not much has changed yet. So let's put it in for another 30 seconds. Alright, so this is the second 30 seconds. As you can see, our butter is melting down. The chocolate morsels are melting down fairly quickly, so that's also why you want to break down your chocolate. If you have the morsels, they will break down, melt down a lot quicker than if you do the bars. But either way, you're just going to melt it down and you're going to mix the two together. So, but you're going to keep doing this until it's all completely melted. So, give that a mix. And we stick this back in for another 30 seconds. Alright, so here's the next round, 30 seconds. We've done 3 rounds so far. As you can see, it's starting to melt a little bit more. And this is going to take some time. This is going to take a couple times in your microwave, depending on your wattage for your microwave. It's going to depend on your chocolate, all that good stuff. But just keep going, 30-second intervals. You don't want to rush this because you don't want to burn that chocolate. That's the reason for the short intervals that we're doing. So, all right, so another 30 seconds. Alright, so this is number 4, if we're keeping count. It's really starting to melt my chocolate down some more. And we're just going to kind of help it, make sure that it's melting. You do want it completely melted. Like, that's very important. You don't want the chunks. So I still have chunks of chocolate that have not melted completely yet. So we're just giving it a stir, wiping down our sides, all that stuff. But you can see the smoothness too from the butter and the chocolate kind of coming together. You want that too. Alright, so we're going to scrape down our sides. And we're going to put it back in for another 30 seconds. Alright, this is what, number 5? I think this is number 5. So I don't feel any more chunks. I want to make sure though. You want to make sure that you don't have any chunks. That's the key. At this point, you can use a whisk if you want to. The thing is, you don't want to whisk too much air into your chocolate. You want that nice smooth chocolate. And I don't see any more chunks. So I think we can go with this. Yeah, I don't see any more chunks. So my microwave took total a minute and a half. Remember, you don't want to do more than 30-minute increments because you don't want to burn your chocolate. But this chocolate, it's very smooth. It melted wonderfully with that butter. So you can see how nice and pretty this is right now. That's what you want. It's not burnt. So it's ready to go into our eggs. So let's do that next. Alright everybody, so we have our melted chocolate and butter here. We have our whipped up eggs over here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take about a third of this, of the eggs, and we're going to fold it into your chocolate. And once we fold it to where it is mostly incorporated, we're going to add another third, then the last third. So you're going to do a little bit at a time, and that's because your chocolate is really hot right now. So you put this all in there at one time and you can't get it folded in time. You're going to have some cooked scrambled eggs in your Flourless, and you don't want that. Some people do temper their eggs, which means you're going to put it over a double boiler and bring this up to temperature, the same temperature as your chocolate. You can do that if you want to. This is another way you can do it where you don't have to go through that whole process. So I'm just going to take about a third and just start folding it in. Oops, that's more than a third. But you want to fold it in because you don't want to lose too much of the whipped of your eggs that you work so hard to achieve on your mixer. And we're just going to fold it and keep folding until you see your chocolate and your egg mixture incorporated together. This is going to take just a minute, but you're just going to keep on folding, keep on folding. Okay. Not too hard with it because you don't want to knock. You're going to lose a lot of the air, but you don't want to lose too much of the air, if that makes sense. So I can see my chocolate and my eggs are coming together, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to take the last bit of this egg because I dumped way too much in there the first time. And we're going to fold the rest of this in here. Oh my god, this is going to be so good. I'm telling you guys, if you've never made a Flourless cake before, they turned out to be like a really fudgy kind of cake. So it's like this really dense fudge, like, oh my god, goodness. And then, you know, you can top it with whatever you want. We'll get to that later. But so, it looks like my Flourless cake mix is pretty incorporated with the eggs and the chocolate. Looking fabulous. I see a lot of air pockets. That's probably from my eggs. Alright, so now we are mixed in really good. Okay? So we have our eggs. So we now have our cake batter. So I have these fun Mickey shape molds I'm going to use. It's the silicone molds that I got from Disney a while back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill these with my cake batter. I'm going to make it easy on myself. I'm going to put it in my 2-cup pitcher so I don't make a huge mess in pouring these. But I'm just going to pour it in. Almost to the top. Because these are going to come up a little bit. I think I filled the first one a little bit too much. Oops. Oh my goodness, okay. I got a little bit of overage here, so we're gonna oh, come on, come on. All right. All right, so this pan is filled. I'm going to fill the rest of my pans. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some water in this pan. As you can see, this pan is about an inch and a half thick. So I'm going to cook these in a water bath. So I'm going to fill this area with water. Not all the way, but just probably halfway with some water. And then we're going to put these in the oven at 325. We're going to bake them for 20 to 22 minutes. So let's do that, and then we will check them, and I'll show you how to check these to see if they're done. Alright guys, so our cakes have come out of the oven. They were baking at 325 for 25 minutes. They have a nice skin on the top of them. So let's see if we can zoom in for you. So what you're looking for is the top of these to look like almost like a brownie. They're going to have like a skin to them. The edges are going to be looking like they're starting to bake. That's what you're looking for. Remember, this is a flourless cake. It's not going to look the same as what you're used to. So that's what you're looking for. You can kind of touch them, and there's like a little skin on that has formed on the top of them. On this one, I did my temperature test. So what you're going to do is you're going to stick your thermometer in about halfway, and as long as it comes up to 140 degrees, that's going to tell you that your cake has been cooked. It should be cooked all the way through at that point, and then you can pull them out of the oven. So I pulled mine out of the oven. I put them on these cooling racks. I'm going to let them sit here and cool to room temperature, and then I'm going to stick them into my freezer overnight. So I do want to point out, remember, these have water. You did a water bath. So when you pull these pans out of the oven, they're going to be extremely hot. So be very, very careful when you pull these out of the oven and go to put them on a cooling rack or whatever you're doing. Use both hands. You know, if you have the pot things that go up your arm further to keep yourself from burning yourself in case you do spill the water. Just be very careful in this process. Now, for somebody that wants to do like a regular size cake, so let's say you have an 8-inch cake pan, this recipe is perfect for that size pan, 8-9 inches. This is a good size. So the best kind of cake pan to use is your spring form cake pan that you use for a cheesecake. What you're going to do is you're going to put parchment paper on the bottom layer. You're going to spray it generously with a non-stick cooking spray of your choice. And then you're going to double line the outside with aluminum foil. You're going to do all this. Of course, your cake batter will go inside where you have your parchment paper and you greased it with your cooking spray. But then that whole thing with the foil on the outside is going to go into your pan with your water for your water bath when baking. Same temperature, 325, should take 25 minutes. But again, you want to look for your skin on the top. You can do your temperature check the same way. I did these. And as long as you have your skin, your temperature reads about 140 degrees or a little bit higher, you should be good to go. You can pull it out, let it cool down, all that good stuff. So, letting these cool down to room temperature, and then I'm going to take these and throw them in the freezer overnight. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh hey, what are you doing in here? Well, I put the cakes in the freezer overnight, so looks like they're nice and frozen, so it's going to be easier for me to unmold them out of my silicone mold. So let's go do that now. Come on, get out of the freezer. What are you doing? Alright everybody, so we got our cakes out of the freezer. These have been in the freezer overnight to make sure they're nice and solid, because I have them in this silicone mold, and that's going to help me get them out a lot easier. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to basically flip this over, and I should be able to push it out my mold, and it should maintain the shape of my mold. This way you can go to any craft store. Usually Joann's and Michael's is really good about carrying these molds. Now these Mickey molds, I got these from Disney World. They used to sell them on the Shop Disney Parks site. You could probably find them on like Amazon, eBay, all that fun stuff. But I got these actually, from Disney World, because we live here in Orlando. But see how easy these are, just popping right on out. And I'm telling you, put them in the freezer overnight. It's going to save you a world of headache. And you have these fun shapes. Look at these. Look at these. These are so cute. You get these fun little shapes that you can make and, have a fun little dessert. And, it's delicious. And so you can decorate these however you want. You can cover them in a glaze. Whether it be just another chocolate glaze or a fruit glaze. You can leave them as they are and decorate them with a whipped cream, buttercream if you want, fresh fruit, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to end up making a fresh whipped cream, and then I have some fresh strawberries I'm going to decorate with mine. But you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever shape you want. If you want to do the full cake, you can always do the full cake. So this is a very simple, easy, delicious dessert you can make for any occasion, just because, or birthdays, anniversaries, all kinds of stuff. So there you go. So that's my Flourless. Let me see if I can, got a plate here. See if I can do like a little fancy for you. Look at that. Look how cute that is. How cute. Nice little presentation, fun little design, and it's delicious. Alright guys, so there you have it. That's our Flourless chocolate cake. It's a very simple recipe. A couple ingredients, quick bake time, very easy to put together. Just a reminder that if you decide to try to do a full cake, make sure you have a springform pan, which is the same type of pan used to make your cheesecake. You put the parchment paper on the bottom of the pan. You spray generously with your cake pan spray on the inside of the pan. And then on the outside, you're going to do a double layer of aluminum foil. And then you'll put your cake mix on the inside, and then the whole thing will go into a water bath. And that should make for, if you want to do just a regular sized cake and not, some fun little shapes, if you don't have silicone molds, that sort of thing. So I hope I inspired you to try to make a flourless cake. flourless chocolate cake to be exact. So until next time everybody, just keep baking.